There is no spring break, no summer break, no countdowns to the holidays. When I was teaching, I was always looking forward to the next holiday, the next break. And this was because I was exhausted. But nobody talks about what happens after you leave a profession that you were in for 11 years. Depression, uncertainty, joblessness, rebuilding your identity, and most importantly, betting on yourself. Welcome back to CWM University, where we learn together. And today, we're gonna learn what happened when I started betting on myself. So first, I wanna give you some background information on me teaching for 11 years and what led to me leaving the profession. I love teaching. I love teaching to my heart. I was a very passionate teacher. And I was excited about telling people I was a teacher. I was the first teacher in my family. I was proud of it. I felt like I needed it. I excelled at it. I was able to touch many lives in those 11 years. And somehow, from year 1 to 11, teaching became my whole personality. But around that 8th year, I soon started to realize that you can't pour all your love, time, and energy into other people's cups and leave nothing for yourself. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed about leaving teaching because I didn't want to, but I knew I needed to. So I had to make a change. And around that 8th year mark, that's when the Lord, I felt, laid on my heart that I needed to aggressively save. So I started saving money as if I was training for an Olympics. I put all this money into my high yield savings account over these next 3 years to ensure that I could afford my life without changing it. I had built up to about 6 months of an emergency fund sitting in my high yield savings account for when I decided to leave teaching. And if you want to know why I put my money in a high yield savings account and not just a traditional savings account, you can check out this video right here about high yield savings accounts. Now, after I left teaching, you just automatically think, I'm free. I can do whatever I want. I can wake up when I want. I can move around when I want. And can't nobody tell me where I have to be and at what time. But that wasn't necessarily true in my case. Soon after I left teaching, I fell into a depression. I had no structure or no schedule to follow. I had nobody who needed me to do this, teach this lesson, watch this class. And I thrive on structure. And I no longer had it and didn't think about, you might want to consider having a schedule. You might want to get some kind of structure to your life so that you stay active and not want to stay in the bed all day. And what they say, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. And I tell you, the scenarios I came up with in my head were bad. I had too much time to just sit there and think about the worst case scenario and not try to think about what possibly could be positive from this situation. The fear and uncertainty was bad, real bad. I just knew that from teaching 11 years, it shouldn't be that hard to get a job. After teaching, these type of jobs should just fall into my lap because I have 11 years of experience in this profession. But that wasn't necessarily true. And I saved aggressively for leaving teaching so I could pay my bills, but yet and still, I was anxious about my money. I saw my savings account going down, down, and down, and I still didn't have a job yet. I was used to those predictable paychecks coming into my account consistently. But when you don't have consistent paychecks, you look at money a little differently. Another hard thing for me was being a steward of my time. Yes, I knew I needed to get another job, but some days I could barely get out the bed. I could barely come to the kitchen and get something to eat. I was not being a steward of the time that I was now blessed with because I didn't have to go to work. I wasn't on a schedule. I could have been doing so much more things with my time, but I couldn't get out of my head. I was stuck there for a while. It got to a point that one of my friends would call and say, did you eat yet? Oh, let me send some food to you. Or let me send you some money so you can eat. Or they would bring me food. Shout out to you for doing that. Because I was sick and didn't know how to grasp my new reality, even though I prayed about it and prayed about leaving. But what I did not pray about is, Lord, give me strength to handle what comes after leaving your job. I didn't think that far. And when you're used to being a friend who pours into everybody, checks on everybody, makes sure everybody is straight, it's real hard to see when you're on the other end of that. When you need somebody to show up for you, you need somebody to check on you, you need somebody to make sure that you're straight, and the people that you thought would be there wasn't there. When you're going through a hard time in your life, you find out who genuinely cares about you or who's in your life because of what they can profit from being in your life, not necessarily caring about you as a person. Now, I'm not going to discount for anybody who was really there for me, and you know who you are. I could probably count on my five fingers the amount of people who were truly there for me. And I mean, not calling my phone, oh, did you look for jobs today? And now the whole other conversation is about you, which I had several people who would do that. But I did have people in my corner that generally checked on me, that generally sent funds, even though they knew I saved up money for this event. They still had jobs, and they sent money for food, or hey, go get some gas just in case you need some. They genuinely cared. So if you have a friend that recently quit their job and they want to move on to another career or whatever the case may have been, genuinely call their friend. Genuinely listen to what's going on with them, especially when they're trying to improve their lives. And don't just say, oh, call me if you need something. They don't have a job. They got to need something. Send them some money for some food. Send some food to their house. Give them some gas money, just off the strength of your friendship. Don't just say, if you need something, call me. Because if they're your strong friend, they're not calling you. They're not going to call you and tell you they need something. They'll exhaust their last before they call. And you know that about your friend. So if your strong friend is going through something, the one that usually doesn't ask you for anything, doesn't call you complaining about their problems or what they need, show up for them. I can probably say on my hand 5 people who showed up for me genuinely when I decided to stop teaching. 2 of those people belong to my parents. One of them is my godmother. That leaves with 2 people who genuinely showed up and was in my corner and didn't just say, oh, just let me know if you need something. They sent funds. They bought food. They called and listened to me cry and be upset that I left teaching, but I knew I couldn't stay there. And I needed to improve my life, and I needed to move on to the next phase in my life. So check on your strong friends, especially when they're changing chapters in their life. They need you as much as you need them when you're going through things or when they're there for you. So for those 5, there are people that really showed up for me consistently. I want to say thank you. I've told you to your face, each of you, plenty times, thank you, because you didn't have to. And I appreciate it. Now, you're probably wondering, how long did you stay without a job after you left teaching? I stayed without a job for about 6 months. And what I did during that time was to make sure I did not live above my means. I was trying to live under my means to make sure I had enough money, because I didn't know when my next job was going to be. Was I applying to jobs? Yes, a lot of jobs, plenty jobs, all the time. I got a lot of no's. I got a lot of crickets. I didn't hear from the companies. I had interviews. One interview I had with one lady, she just ghosted me. It's like, oh, you'll be a great fit. We'll get back to you with the next steps. Never heard anything else. And all those doors that was closed in my face, little did I know at that point, they were blessings, because there was some other place I needed to be. And also, whenever they have a lawsuit up against LinkedIn, somebody please let me know. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of jobs I applied to there was the reason I was getting a whole bunch of spam calls on my phone. It seemed like they don't vet the people that they allow to post jobs on LinkedIn. Anybody else had problems with LinkedIn? Let me know. So after about 6 months, I applied to a government job and got it just like this. So with the government job, I went for orientation, and then I came home and I was just sitting there. So when you're not working for the type of job I had, you weren't getting paid. So I kept looking, and I was able to secure a virtual tutoring job with this company that paid really good. So I was able to get back on a type of schedule that I was used to and I was able to pick what hours I wanted to work. However, I knew that this virtual tutoring job wasn't enough to cover my expenses and be able to live how I wanted to live. So I had that for a couple months, and then I got deployed with my job. And then that's when the money started rolling back in. And I already told myself, once I get a job that paid a good amount of money, I was going to start back rebuilding my emergency fund. Because if this ever happened again, I wanted to have the option to move how I wanted to move. Because the more money you have, the more options you have. If I never started aggressively saving in my high yield savings account, I wouldn't have been able to leave teaching. My bills had to be paid. My mortgage had to be paid. I had to eat. So in order to do that, I needed the funds. And because I had the funds, I had options. So as soon as I started my government job and was deployed, I made sure that I stacked that savings account back up again because I needed to always have options. So while working this government job, I was deployed to different states and different cities that I would have never in my life probably went. And I learned a lot during that time. And then I was able to transition within that company to a different job. And I was able to be local. So I was able to come back home because I had prayed before. I was like, Lord, I want to travel for work. And he allowed me to travel for work. And I realized I want to be at my house. I want to be back at home. I want to be where I'm paying a mortgage. If I'm paying it, I want to actually enjoy it. So I was able to get back home and work a job for a while. And then the crazy thing happened with the government and they went to a shutdown. And that shutdown resulted in me losing my job. So here I am again, unemployed. But this time, I knew I was going to do it differently. I wasn't going to just sit in the bed, be depressed, not eat, get stuck in my head. This time, I was going to do it differently. So because of the shutdown and how I lost my job, I was able to get unemployment. With unemployment in the state that I live in, there comes certain requirements you must meet in order to keep your unemployment. So I had to look for so many jobs per week, which I was going to do anyway because I'm looking for the next thing that's going to pay my bills. Yes, I had a good amount saved up again. I got my emergency fund up to a certain amount again. But yet, I still wanted more money in there because the more money you have, the more options you have. And I wanted to make sure I continued to have options. So during that time that I was on unemployment, I was able to get a contract job that was similar to my government job that I had. But this meant I had to leave home again. Now, I didn't want to leave home. But I wanted money in my high yield savings account more than I didn't want to leave home. So I went again to another state, some more cities that I probably would have never went to make money. And what I was learning during this time was sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone to excel. Because did I want to get deployed again and be away from my house? No. But I had to make a decision. Was I going to sit here and not make money? Or was I going to go make some money? Because yes, I was getting unemployment, but unemployment is not enough to pay your bills and beyond. You see what I'm saying? So I needed more money. So when I went and was deployed for those few months, I was able to stack my emergency fund even more because I had a goal in mind. More money, more options. So about the time that I left that contracting job for good, my unemployment, so like if with unemployment for a state I live in, if you get another job that's maybe it's contract work, your unemployment stops. You can go do the contract work, and then when you come back, your unemployment can finish. But you only get unemployment for so long. Unemployment does not last forever. So I stopped doing that contracting job. My unemployment stopped, so now I'm no longer having money coming in. However, I do have this cushion over there in my emergency fund, and since it's in a high yield savings account, it's making money by just sitting there. And I left that money alone. I pulled out money only when I needed it, not just because, oh, let's go on a shopping spree. No, because when you don't know where your next paycheck is coming from, you start moving differently. So after this, I'm like, I need to start looking for more jobs. What am I going to do? So I decided to go and get my project management certificate. So I found out everything you need to do in order to be certified in project management. I did that. I am going to make a video later about how I studied for that certificate and what I've been doing with that certificate. But I went, I studied for it, passed the exam, got certified, and then I started applying for more jobs. I was able to update my resume with this new certificate. And just things were not working out. I was either getting the same results, declined, not hearing back. I even used different websites to try to look for jobs. Just wasn't working out. And I'm like, okay, Lord, what's next? So I was talking to one of my favorite coworkers, and she was saying, let's do a fast. We both want new jobs, so let's do a fast. And I was like, that's a great idea. So during that day, we did our fasting, we did our praying, we did our scripture reading at our own locations. And I kid you not, a whole day after that fast, ideas just start flooding in my head of what I could do to move forward, to move into this next chapter. So this led me into betting on myself. So January 8th in 2026, I created my YouTube page and my TikTok for CWM University. And I just started getting ideas of videos I could do. And I started writing them down as they will come. And they haven't stopped. Because I feel like this is the path that the Lord wanted me to take. Bet on yourself. Because if one thing I've always done, I knew I wouldn't let myself down. No matter what, I'm not going to let myself down. So why not bet on yourself? So if you've been wondering, what have I been doing since teaching? All of that contract work and going to different states and working and making money. I've done the tutoring, and now I'm doing content creation. And I pick topics that I know about well. 11 years in education. So I'm doing education topics. I travel a lot and traveled a lot. So just sharing my experience with others, and as well finances. I love finance. I love learning how to grow my money and different ways you can invest your money. And I'm taking these things that I'm passionate about and creating videos about it, educating others and letting them know how they could better themselves, or letting people know things that I've learned that I wish I would have known a long time ago. So in this chapter that I am now, I'm learning how to be the main character of my life. Not pouring so much into other people's cup and keeping nothing for myself. Because many times I would have ideas and then try to give them to my friends or people I knew. Like, oh yeah, I could execute this because you could do this, or this would be good for you because of this. When the whole time, the Lord wasn't giving me ideas for somebody else. They were meant for me. I just wasn't using them. So if you have a talent or you have ideas, stop giving them away. Use them. Because are these ideas for somebody else? Or are they being given to you because they're for you? And you just dragging your feet on it? Because I've thought several times about starting a YouTube channel. Years ago. At one point, a person that was in my life, they wanted to start a YouTube channel. And I was like, oh, I can help you with your YouTube channel. Why am I helping others for something that was placed on my heart to do? So finally, I am doing said thing. Being the main character and betting on yourself, everybody else is just a supporting role. I'm not saying that you need to be mean to people, not try to help people, or be there for folks. But you have to consider yourself first. Put yourself first. I put me first. I'm the main character. This story is about me. And I'm betting on me. Because if nothing else, I'm going to succeed. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I'm planting seeds now that's going to turn into blessings that overflow my cup, overflow my parents' cups, and overflow those people who were shooting in the gym with me. This is the reason that I'm always preaching about having a high yield savings account, having that emergency fund, and having it stacked up with 3 to 6 months of your expenses. Because aggressively getting out of debt a long time ago and aggressively saving has created me more options in life that I didn't know was possible. I was able to leave a job I was no longer happy at, and it was detrimental to my health. And ever since then, I haven't stayed at a job more than 6 months that I wasn't happy with. Because I already knew I've been saving up money just in case I want to go. From now on, my philosophy is if I'm not happy at a job, I check that account and I'm gonna move accordingly. I don't know where this chapter in my life is taking me. So I know in this chapter, I can no longer show up for people, go over and beyond if it's at the expense of myself. I know some people, this may sound selfish, and to others, you get it. The ones who get it will. But it's time to make sure that I show up for me. I pour into me. I bet on me. And we're going to make this thing work because there's no other options. There's no other options. I got a plan. I'm sticking to the plan. And that's what we're doing. So this chapter here is personal. But I know that it's going to be bigger than anything I could have imagined because I'm betting on myself. So if you are in a transitional part of your life, or you're thinking about leaving that job, or you're thinking about just changing to a different career, go where your heart leads you. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to get up in the morning and look forward to working or look forward to living your life. So what are some things you could change now to get yourself in a situation where you can have options? Do you have a high yield savings account? Do you have an emergency fund? Maybe start there. So you could be your own bank and you're not borrowing from somebody else. Let me know in the comments, are you in the middle of transitioning between professions? Are you a teacher who recently left education and you're still trying to figure it out? Have you recently started content creation and you're trying to see what path it's going to take you down? Let us know in the comments. Stay tuned because I'm pretty sure I'll be updating you on my journey as a content creator. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. It does help me on my journey for where I am going. If you feel like this video can help somebody else, share it with them. And I want to say thank you to my current day right now, my 78 subscribers to my channel. I really appreciate you taking your time to, one, press the subscribe button because it was free. And then for two, taking your time out of your day to watch my videos. I really do appreciate it. And you already know, until next time.